Happy St. Patrick's Day. Welcome to the Fantasy First Rounders. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in. We're the Fantasy First Rounders. Chris, Ryan, Tom, and Billy. We're trying to find this. I can't find it on Robbie's Twitter account to share this out, guys. We're having problems. We got technical difficulties right now. I just got 3 different things up here. We're having trouble streaming to Twitch. This may be an issue with Twitch's end. Okay. I don't know what all this means, guys. I don't know what all that means. Okay. Technical difficulties. That's what happens when you go live. Let's see if we can figure this out in the next 3 or 4 seconds. If not, let me do something. All right. Says we're live on Facebook and YouTube. So Facebook and YouTube, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Periscope and Twitch. We will get this figured out very shortly. Oh, it says we're live on Periscope now. Let's see what happened. Well, that's what happens, guys. Well, what have you all been doing on your St. Patrick's Day? For me, at least, I went out. You can't see it, but that means it's good, right? My beer is green today, guys. So what are you all doing today on this St. Patrick's Day?
Working.
You're always working, man.
The usual.
I like it.
Got to roll with the Irish, right?
Yeah. Yep. Everybody's Irish today.
Yeah. My wife is Irish, Fitzpatrick, so the clan always says today's not St. Paddy's Day, it's Fitzpatrick's Day.
Nice.
What am I going to say about that? Well, we'll get this shared out on the other platforms here shortly. We got a lot to cover tonight. If not, y'all can check us out tomorrow on the rebound, guys. What's going on, Scott? What's going on, Liz? Liz and Scott have been with us since the inception of our stream, guys. So thank you so much. Scott, the shirt, man. I can't say it's a family show, but I like it, you know? I'll put it back up for you, Ryan.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've said that a couple times in your tenure. Well, guys, tonight, part 2 of our running back landscape, aka the running back theorem. We're going to try to knock out as many different teams as possible. I've got 12 queued up for us, so we're going to kick it right off, right, guys? We're going to go right into the Chicago Bears. The only guy that I really care about on this team is a guy that they took in the 3rd round, the 73rd overall in the 2019 draft class. Billy, this is probably a guy that you watched in college very often. I'm talking about David Monty Montgomery. The guy last year, or I'd say last season, but a few months ago, right? He lit it up for teams and helped propel you to your championship victory. One of my teams included. He was a guy that over the course of 4 or 5 games, PPR point scoring was like 20-something points per game. He ended up with 236.6 points. He was the number 6 guy in a PPR ranking system. His first top 12 season in his career. So you got to like that. They used him a lot. This was a guy that during our My Guys episode, Tom and I deliberated and talked about this because I think most of us were on here for that show. We knew the volume was going to be there, right? And it just had to be the opportunity because we know the talent's there too. So when you're looking at all of his stats across the board, his evaded tackles, his juke ability, his breakaway runs, the dude is phenomenal. I mean, his evaded tackles are as high as Alvin Kamara's are. Obviously, the opportunity that Alvin Kamara got was better because not all snaps are equal. But David Montgomery, guys, a guy that in my mind has a lot of opportunity, especially in Dynasty being as young as he is, only 2 seasons in the league. And technically last season, he didn't have a lot of work on him. So he's not getting a lot of love in the drafts that I'm seeing, at least in 5th or 6th round. So I'm firing up as a running back too, possibly RB1, could be a top 12 guy this year, depending on how Andy Dalton plays. Tom, what do you think about Monty and the rest of the Bears?
I do like Monty a lot, right? I mean, he has a lot of upside. It's not a bad squad around him. The biggest question really is quarterback, right? Andy Dalton, mixed thoughts. I was kind of high on him when he came in for Dak last year in Dallas. Obviously, the Bears aren't quite as high-powered as Dallas was, but regardless, looking at Montgomery, yards per attempt goes up year by year. He was at 3.7 yards per attempt his rookie year, 4.3 last year. Over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns isn't too bad, right? My only concern with that is, of course, Tariq Cohen was only in for, I believe, 3 games last year. It might have been 3 and a partial game there, right? That's not great considering that Tariq is going to steal some of those shares on passing downs, right? Tariq Cohen is a pass-catching back. He's a Darren Sproles-esque guy. So how many snaps does David Montgomery lose going into this year? I still think it's for the value, depending on where he's getting taken. I think he could be a good play here. But I think either of these guys could have a solid season because you lost Allen Robinson franchise tag, right? Yep, franchise tag. So he's still there. So I don't know. It's a weird offense there. It's going to come down to what you really believe Andy Dalton does, I think.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Cohen is obviously a PPR guy that I'm going to be looking at, especially with the news that maybe Anthony Miller's moving. He can really turn into kind of their slot guy. But it's Montgomery. The guy, we were all – I mean, I don't know if we all were, but I remember being high on him coming out as a rookie thinking, wow, there's not a lot in his way. He should get the volume. He's had the volume. He didn't really produce his first year. Second year, we saw a little bit more of what we were expecting as far as, again, he got that volume, but he turned it into a bit more, showed his chops a bit more as a receiver. I mean, he had 54 catches and 2 touchdowns and through the air. Like that, those are numbers you want to see in a PPR league. So I like Monty. I think that a lot of us, like I hate drafting with you guys because we're all going to be looking to get Monty a little bit late. And so kind of we know each other's tendencies now. So Monty ain't going late between the when we're all in the draft. But I like him. Again, the youth, the volume's going to be there. I don't see them addressing running back at this offseason in any real way. So, again, fire up Monty.
And David Montgomery is a guy, like you said, Chris, I watched him a lot in college, just a couple hours down the road in Ames. And he's really the same back now he was then. He just kind of caught his stride with the Bears, especially late down the stretch, like you said, those last 4 games, way up there in PPR scoring. And really had a really good year, but we were also missing a couple backs. So that RB6 is kind of inflated in my mind. He's kind of right around that RB10 for me. But this is a guy that we do have a little but of concern with Tariq Cohen. His rookie year, David Montgomery, he only caught like 25 balls when Tariq Cohen had 79 receptions. And we really saw him flourish last year without Tariq Cohen kind of cutting into that work. However, David Montgomery with like 54 catches, I believe, on the year, he is a guy that can do that passing work. And that was the reason that they moved on from Jordan Howard and drafted David Montgomery, was to be able to have a guy that can run between the tackles and they don't have to take him off the field and passing down. So I'm interested to see how that plays out. I also feel like the Anthony Miller trying to make that a vacancy would move Tariq Cohen into that slot receiver more. And I feel like they want to use him. He's under contract for decent money for the next couple years yet still. So I think Tariq Cohen, they're trying to move to receiver because Montgomery can do the job. Andy Dalton's an upgrade for this offense from an experience standpoint. We've seen him play well with this young cast of guys. I think it might elevate the play, reduce some of the mistakes that like Mitchell Trubisky was making. Nick Foles just kind of wasn't bringing it. Andy Dalton there, a little bit of new life. He's looking for an opportunity to prove he can do it. He's got a decent surrounding cast, assuming Allen Robinson is a Bear week 1.
Yeah, I mean, all y'all hit this guy on the head. I think we're all in agreement. Like Billy said, he's probably going to be a top 10 guy for us. And I think it makes sense because we look at his usage, right? His rookie year, 254 opportunities. Last year, like Billy mentioned, with Tariq Cohen out, 284. We all thought the floor was going to be 225, and we hit that on the head. So there's no reason not to think that he's going to get that volume again this year, right? Billy Close, 45, not 54 receptions, but 59 targets. But you saw the bump up from 25 receptions to 45 receptions last year. Even with Tariq Cohen out for a little bit of that time. I think he still stays around like that, 32 reception mark, which you love in PPR formatting, right? So I really like him. And Ryan, I see your hand up. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, breaking news. Patrick Peterson, 1 year, $10 million deal with the Vikings.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. Arizona's not just loading up, right? Arizona's losing a little bit. I don't think Peterson's still the guy he was, but I mean, he's better than most still.
Wow.
That's a big deal.
PP.
Me too. He's still a great player.
Yeah.
They needed help in that defensive backfield, though. Those corners were not good in Minnesota.
Not at all.
I wasn't expecting that.
Not at all. Tom, take us away to Cincinnati, man.
Well, real quick, I got just a real quick question to wrap up the Bears. These guys remind me a little bit of another duo in the league. I'm curious what your thoughts are on potential. I don't think they're there, but potential, right? Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. Similar sort of situation-ish. No? We don't like the comparison.
Look, you know what my answer is going to be, and I'm super extremist on the Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb front. So Billy and Ryan, you should answer this because they're not very biased about it.
Real quick, I know it's a different level. I'm not saying they're 1-to-1, right? But I feel like you could have a somewhat similar situation with them.
I just think that if you put Hunt, Chubb, Montgomery, and Cohen in the same backfield, Hunt and Chubb are the best two backs in that backfield. So you've got two guys that are much higher level. Even though I do love Monty, a lot of what I love about him is the opportunity. And if you got a guy like Chubb or Hunt in there, that opportunity's gone. Either one of those guys could start for Chicago tomorrow, in my opinion, even though I do love Montgomery.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think Montgomery's necessarily on those guys' level. I see what Tom's getting at, though, with kind of that 1-2 punch. One guy kind of between the tackles, the one guy kind of the receiving threat. However, to compare Tariq Cohen to Kareem Hunt is like, I don't even know. One guy, if you saw Kareem Hunt in person, man, I was in Kansas City, saw him in the game. That guy's tree trunks. Saquon ain't got a whole lot on Kareem Hunt, I'll put it that way. Tariq Cohen, kind of more like the Ferrari type guy. But, yeah, similar attack. I can see it.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. And I will say, Kareem Hunt much better in between the tackles, I think, than Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen's, 5'6", like 160 pounds. He's not a big man, so.
He might be a better slot receiver.
Truly.
You have to find out.
Look, I'm going to disagree with anything about any Kareem Hunt slander. Kareem Hunt's not the best.
There was no
slander. We're talking about.
There was
I want to
no
hear
slander. All right. Well, hey, before Chris has an aneurysm here, we'll move it on to the Cincinnati Bengals. This is a team I'm not super excited with, right? I mean, we're talking Joe Mixon, which is a name that should get you going. It should excite you. You think over the last few years, but I just don't have that same hopefulness this year, I guess. And then Giovanni Bernard behind him. You also have Trayvon Williams and Jacquez Patrick. I don't know. Joe Mixon, when you look at the stats, he went from rookie season 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. Second season in over 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. Another 1,100-yard season, 5 touchdowns. And then it just dropped off, albeit only 6 games. They was truly healthy last year. But 428 yards. Yards per attempt went down to 3.6, down from in the 4s the 2 years previous. I don't know if he just wasn't healthy or what the deal was, but I just didn't see Mixon getting it going, whether it was at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, like any of the games that he actually played. I didn't see that same spark. So I'm honestly kind of down on him, to be honest. And I don't know that Giovanni Bernard is the guy either. He did okay, in my opinion, filling in basically, but this is somebody that I could see taking a running back, second or third round. Obviously, they need to address the O-line ASAP because you need to protect Joe Burrow. Otherwise, that dude's got a 2-year career and he's done. But I mean, 29, 30-year-old Giovanni Bernard doing 3.4 yards per carry isn't doing it either. So maybe one of the guys at UNC could end up here. I think that could be an interesting spot. What do you guys think?
Well, I was off Gio, and he kind of impressed me last year. He brought me back because I was like, bring Trayvon Williams. I'm a Trayvon Williams fan. He was my boy in college, but I'm with you. I'm off this Mixon train. He had a great 2018, and then he has regressed in almost every way ever since. Now, yeah, granted, like you were saying, there's not been great offensive line there, but in my opinion, I think this is going to be a team that gets kind of gashed up on defense, is going to have to throw more. Mixon can play receiver, but there's a lot of receivers out there. So I'm going to be pushing off of Mixon a little bit just because, I mean, is Burrow going to be back week 1? I haven't seen the time frame for that yet.
I hope not.
Yeah, I mean, he is young, though. He is young, though. Sometimes those guys come back real quick. I'm off the Mixon train. I'm not denying his talent, but I think we might have seen the best of him already. And 8 touchdowns, 1,100 yards. That's just good. That's just good for me.
Mixon is one of these guys that I really like him. I've avoided him recently in fantasy. Luckily, I didn't own much of him last year, in a year where he only played 6 games. But the year before that, he was like RB13. Year before that, RB10. And the guy's only 24 years old. And look at the supporting cast he's had. So I guess for me, as the age he's at in Dynasty right now, as many people are down on him, this is a guy I'm going to start targeting, I think. I see low price, high reward potential with Joe Mixon healthy in this offense. Like you said, Gio kind of underwhelms. He's really not going to cut in to Mixon's work in a way that is really going to limit Mixon fantasy-wise, other than that typical RB1 with the guy that gets some carries type role. So I really like Joe Mixon. He's had a high yards per carry season. He's had touchdowns. I think that in this offense with Joe Burrow back healthy, they made an offer to Kenny Golladay. If he were to show up, it would make life really easy on a guy like Joe Mixon, who does have that superior kind of talent, that superior skill set. He's a top guy coming out of college. We've seen flashes of it. But focus is a question if you know a whole lot about Joe Mixon. It's always kind of been an issue with him. He's a guy you got to keep close to the facility type of fella. But 24 years old, dynasty season, I'm buying Joe Mixon right now because of the asking price, I suppose.
Guys, okay. I was a Joe Mixon guy last year in a few of my leagues, and every year, like Ryan hit it, man. Joe Mixon, great sophomore year, right? Top 10 back, 231.7 fantasy points for PPR formatting, had his breakout year, put him on the board. But then, right, he digressed, and then he digressed again. His expected points, his junior year, almost 30 points underneath what was expected of him. Last year, not so bad for the games that he played. The games that he played, only 6 under what was expected, but he only finished with 99.6. You were getting this guy, in the 3rd, 4th round last year, I believe. This year, I'm seeing him in the 4th or 5th. Yes, the value's there, and obviously he could definitely be a running back 1 like he showed prior, but man, like every year we hear about the Joe Mixon guy that just gets burned. I was the guy last year. There was other people prior to that. Is this year that's going to happen, Billy? I just can't do it again. I can't do it. I can't be the 5th year guy right now. And if this is the year that it pays off, then I'm okay with it. But I'm not going to touch him in that 5th round. I'm going to take my boy Kareem Hunt or maybe even Kenyon Drake, depending where he lands. I just don't see too much anything to add to that. I mean, most likely because like last year, I've never had a share of Mixon on any of my teams. I never rostered him, right? Maybe that's why you haven't either, right, Billy? And he's one of those guys that what is it like the shininess, right? Is there of Joe Mixon in that high-powered offense with Taylor and with Joe Burrow and T. Higgins, the possibility of a new shiny wide receiver with AJ Green gone, is that play into it a little bit?
To me, it does. I mean, because if you look at the receiving guys now, AJ Green at his age and being injured a lot lately, he's not on the field to really give that an honest look. And also, the quarterback situation hasn't been as attractive as what Joe Burrow showed in his limited playing time last year. So that excites me. But I just feel like a real legitimate wide receiver 1, making Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins complementary pieces, and maybe T. Higgins ends up being your one. That guy's potential is unreal. But I just feel like Joe Mixon with no loaded boxes, now it's not a situation where you've got a rookie quarterback who can stack the box and stop the run and make Joe Mixon really work for it. He might be the odd man out in this offense, and for an odd man out, it's a pretty talented guy.
Man, I love Tyler Boyd. I think y'all are selling Tyler Boyd short.
No, I love him too, man. It's just
I don't know they need a wide receiver.
Galladay or Boyd. Boyd would be the 2 in my opinion, but still
Of course,
pretty damn
with
good.
Galladay, with Galladay, he's a monster.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Look, you got Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins. Auden Tate's not a terrible third receiver.
No, he's
Golden Tate,
he's
sir.
huge.
Golden Tate.
Yeah.
Auden.
No.
Yeah, Auden. AU is gold on the periodic table, okay? He's
Oh,
Golden
wow. Gotcha.
Is that- Come on.
Tate.
Hey,
Come on.
you will only hear that
It's St.
on
Patrick's Day, man.
Patrick's Day.
Gold, leprechauns, come on.
Anyway, I don't hate those guys. And looking at this draft class, I feel like you could get a third receiver kind of mid to late round. Like there are some, there's not a ton, like there are a couple, first round guys, but there's actually a good amount of those middle round guys this year. Last year was so stacked up top. This year is more that, you're not going to be a wide receiver 1, but you can play the slot or you can play as the kind of number 2 outside guy. So I could see them doing that. What I need is O-line, obviously, and I wouldn't hate to see them somehow bring in a tight end. I know Zach Ertz has been a name that's floating around. Obviously, the Patriots just tried to sweep up every tight end they could because they somehow think that makes Cam Newton good. It doesn't. But, there's still some tight ends out there, either in the draft, Pat Freiermuth. Yeah, there you go. Love it. But Pat Freiermuth out of Penn State. I don't dislike Noah Gray out of Duke. I think he has a lot of, promise there.
I'm really excited to see what our guys have on this tight end class this year because it's like there's like 4 or 5 guys that I'm really excited about, and 2 or 3 guys underneath that I'm like, depending on placement, I'm in.
Placement and development, but there's some good options in this tight end class. And I had a conversation today with somebody. I feel like tight end is one of those things that we're so spoiled with how good they are right now that, like, yes, there's like the 3 or 4 guys that are the tier 1, but like tier 2 is huge right now. We have a lot of really good tight ends in the league, and we're kind of spoiled with it.
Whoa. You said I'm gonna let that sit right there real quick. I'm gonna come back to that.
Okay.
Okay.
What? I can't come back to something?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, look at me like I'm crazy.
We're waiting for the news, that's all.
I was like, whoa. I was expecting free agency news. I'm like, what happened? I was looking at my phone. All right. We got anything else to say about Cincy?
No, on to Cleveland, man.
This is Joe Burrow week 1. Save the man.
Save him.
Yeah, unless they draft all offensive linemen, then I'll feel a little bit better about it. All right. Well,
it's like Bogart was in my head.
Oh, I see. I disagree.
There's more than a small collection, but there's a lot of very good tight ends, but there are ones that are less fantasy viable because tight end, you're looking at straight up receiving ability, you're looking at yards after catch, and you're looking at blocking.
You know who rose in my mind the most out of all this so far? It's our guy Logan Thomas.
I thought you were going to say Mike Gesicki.
I don't like Logan Thomas.
Magic out there.
I'm not
Thing about tight end though, and I agree with Tom. Like from a fantasy standpoint, we are really spoiled, but the gap is so huge between the top tier, maybe 4 or 5 guys. There's a big gap, and there's probably 11 that are good. But if you go back 15 years, you had Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates.
That's it.
Yeah. I guess I disagree with the term viable.
Whoever Peyton Manning's tight end was good.
True. Dallas Clark.
Dallas
Clark.
Check out that man's hands now. Fingers are like
wrong.
But even in in Denver, he made
whoever he was with
there too.
So
but it's always been like if you didn't have one of those guys, you might as well not have a tight end. You had Algie Crumpler who caught 6 touchdowns and that was it. 11 receptions.
You didn't care about tight end.
Yeah, you got now. There's a handful of guys that get some play in comparison.
Tight end gets love now.
Yeah, it's just deeper. It's
Y'all
much
rubbed
deeper.
off on me too much. Now I know a thing or two about a tight end. Watch out.
Yeah, I think
this
you can
isn't
wait
the
on
tight end
tight end.
episode, guys. We went too far off on
That's
this
true.
tangent.
That's
I'm
true.
sorry.
Back on running backs.
Yeah, Cleveland.
Cleveland. Who wants to
The
start?
best duo in the league.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I agree. I think Pinto knows the only problem I have with Kareem Hunt is that he plays in the same backfield as Nick Chubb. And I am a Nick Chubb. Holy bejesus, guys. What is there not to like? The guy has averaged over 5 yards per carry every year of his career. He had a fully healthy 2019 where he daggum near won the rushing title, except for Derrick Henry's explosion at the end of that. He had 12 touchdowns rushing last year. It's not like he can't play out of the backfield as a receiver. It's that Kareem Hunt is just so versatile, and he's such a good weapon that you don't necessarily need to use Chubb as that guy. You can pound people to death with that monster. He legitimately is one of the most talented running backs in the league, as I do think Hunt is as well. But I just got to say, man, I'm a Nick Chubb truther. I'm going to be all about him again. And this year, Pinto, y'all have talked me into being a little more onto Kareem Hunt just because, man, the guy is so talented. If he had the opportunity of some of these other guys, he would be killing. He's a top 10 back in talent for sure. Yeah, he's a monster. Nick Chubb is an absolute freak. Like, the only thing that caps Hunt for me is the fact that Chubb exists in the same backfield.
Yeah, and just to the point of those stats that we just saw right there, he did that in 12 games. He was still over 1,000 yards, over 5 yards a carry, and the minute he hit the field coming back from that knee injury, was ready to play. I mean, he did not look like he needed to get in shape. He was a man child as soon as he hit the field, and we saw Kareem Hunt not play as well with Nick Chubb on the field. I mean, these two guys complementing each other. It's wild for the level of talent they are. I mean, I'm not Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen, maybe not quite that good yet, but I mean, as far as two guys this talented in the same backfield at the same time, have we seen anybody that good? These two guys that good? I mean, they're incredible. And Kareem Hunt's ability out of the backfield isn't a knock on Nick Chubb. I mean, he had almost 40 catches the year before last when Kareem Hunt showed up and only played part of that season. However, these guys have played their best on the field together, and I legitimately think that in 2021, Nick Chubb will lead the NFL in rushing in that second year in that offense with Kevin Stefanski, and Kareem Hunt is still going to be right there in that borderline RB1, really high-end RB2 range because of the way they use him. This team spends a lot of time in the red zone, guys, and when they get there, they're using Hunt and Chubb.
Yeah.
So I was on mute and I was talking to myself for just a second. And I was like, wait, why am I talking? Barely got me that time. So season 2, a little bit better, right? Look, we all know Nick Chubb is the absolute man, right? Like SEC, University of Georgia, go Bulldogs. Rah, rah, rah. He's good. Go Dog Pound now, right? He's a first-round talent in redraft in Superflex Dynasty right now. He's second round. One quarterback league, he's a first-round talent, right? In Dynasty, for sure, redraft as well. There's no doubt about that. This is my only hits that this is my only caveat that I have with you guys, and I keep telling you, because obviously we know Nick Chubb greater than Kareem Hunt. The value of Kareem Hunt in my mind is just so much better with the guys that I would take over Chubb, like Ezekiel Elliott. This my guy, I love Zeke. I feed him, right? And in the 5th round is a guy that I would take like Kareem Hunt because the value's there where he could get, not that he could, he's going to be a top 18 guy this year. Like Billy mentioned, Nick Chubb could have the rushing record. I still think that it's going to be a Derrick Henry type fella where there's only the sole guy, right? And anything could happen right now. It's super, super early. Maybe Najee gets it in Atlanta, like Billy mentioned a few weeks back. So note that, everybody. Najee up in Atlanta in that run-first type offense, guys. But like we've seen Kareem Hunt out of Toledo in KC, his skill set is just so unreal. Like he's a weapon, right? You can have both these guys on the field, and they had both these guys on the field last season. When you're looking at them in the red zone, Kareem Hunt is a monster from like the 7 to 4 yard line. Anything inside there, you're giving it to Chubb. Obviously, he's going to pound it. It's going to be no issue whatsoever. but Hunt could do that as well, as we've seen in the past. Just looking at, here we go. I like this. The Kareem Hunt juke rating, right? He increased from 23 to 43% in the amount of time that he had when Nick Chubb was off the field, because he got 20% more playing time. Do you think this year maybe they split it up a little bit more, or do you think Stefanski just says, you know what, Nick Chubb, you're healthy, you're going to be the dude no matter what. Hunt will use you in specialty circumstances, gadget plays, decoy plays, or dump offs. If that's the issue, I'm way off of Hunt unless Hunt is a key component of this game plan.
I got to disagree with you on Hunt. I mean, you look at his touches last year. I mean, 841 yards, 6 touchdowns with another 38 receptions and 304 yards. If it's a non-PPR format, right, I'm not into him in a non-PPR format unless it's late rounds and he's like a flex option for me. But in a PPR league, again, I'm not looking for him to be my number one running back. But he's a low-end RB2 into, a starting flex guy for me, right? It's still a very good option for you. And then when you look at Nick Chubb, I mean, I think all of us are in on him. He's going to have 1,000+ yards, assuming he plays, 10, 12 games a year, right? He's going to average close to 100 yards a game, I'd bet. Last year it was 88.9, year before 93.4, right? Like, it doesn't take that much. 8 yards a season the first 2 years of his career, 12 last year, and he missed time. And I mean, receiving wise, he doesn't do badly either. I mean, as far as a non-receiving back goes, right? He's not the guy that goes out there on third down expecting to catch a pass. But you look at 2019 when he played the full season, 36 receptions on 49 targets, 7.7 yards per reception. Last year, he still had 18 targets for 16 receptions and 150 yards. Those aren't bad numbers, right? I mean, Nick Chubb is, I'm not going to say a guaranteed top 5 guy, but he is probably one of the best bets you have outside of McCaffrey or, a healthy Saquon for a top 5 guy.
Yeah, I got two things that I consider. The thing one is if Chubb goes down, Hunt automatically becomes an RB1. Like, it is a no-brainer. And Chubb hasn't exactly been healthy throughout his college and pro career. I mean, that being said, he's not exact. I mean, he played 16 in 2019, but the type of running style he has is not copacetic for like a full 16-game season. And that you can't take that away from him. That's what makes him so devastating. And the other thing that I think about is Kareem Hunt's best year ever, his rookie season, he averaged 4.9 yards per carry. Nick Chubb's worst year ever in 2019, he averaged 5.0. Like, this guy's on a level that we don't actually get to see very many guys be on. So, like, as excellent as Hunt is, if they need to give Chubb the ball more, unless they're trying to prolong him for a playoff push, which I understand. But if not, if you aren't, and they should be looking at the playoffs, but I just don't know why Chubb's not getting more touches and somehow get Kareem Hunt more touches as well, because I look at the receivers and they were supposed to be this great and everything. No, I would just love to give those backs all the touches. Just seriously, not throw it to Hunt, throw it to Chubb, run it to Chubb, run it to Chubb, run it to Hunt. Like, there's no reason not to get these monsters while you still have both of them on the same team.
For the record, Hunt's not a small guy.
No.
Right?
No.
Like,
no.
we think receiving back, we're thinking of that Tariq Cohen, that Darren Sproles, the 5'6" to 5'8", maybe 200 pounds, right? And albeit both of them are pretty stocky for the size. Kareem Hunt's 5'11", 216. I mean, that's not small.
Like Pinto said, his legs are just yoked.
Yeah,
he's huge. Yeah, so with these guys, I think the Browns, these two backs just allow the Browns to be extremely versatile and creative with their offense, because you don't know what's coming. They can both do the whole job. There's nothing that Hunt does or Chubb does that the other guy can't mimic or run the same plays. So it really just gives them options. And in that offense, they're going to use the crap out of the running back. And we've seen it. Both guys are getting a lot of touches. I hope that Chubb stays healthy. I'd like to see what they can both do on the field together. But I think year 2, the creativity is going to really come out. Obviously, that's a strong point of the team. Baker Mayfield can be mistake-prone at times. And, hey, why not use the running backs when you got a quarterback that likes to sling a little time, especially when you get in trouble, and both of them can catch passes. We saw Kareem Hunt in the slot last year. They wanted this guy in the field. They paid him to stay and gave him decent money as well to play alongside Nick Chubb. So my thing is, I think both of them continue to keep that value. Chubb has that true running back value, where Kareem Hunt, he's obviously the 1B in this offense. However, the way they use him, he's got potential to be borderline RB1, that mid-range RB2 that you're getting really drafting him way later. Like we said, 5th round is where we're seeing him go in some of these dynasty leagues, even later sometimes. And why? The guy's young. He's not been around a whole lot. So, and like you guys said, if Chubb were to happen to go down with something really serious, Hunt with that whole job to himself, man, it'd be flashes of what they got going on in Kansas City in an offense that's maybe just as well suited for him.
Quick question for you guys here on the Browns, right? Just in general. I mean, where do they go in the draft? Like, you don't need a running back. You don't really need receiver.
Interior.
Peoples-Jones is a good number 3 guy. Are you talking interior O-line, interior D-line?
Both.
Both.
Like, it
Build
seems
it
like
inside out, man.
that's the only thing that they're really lacking. Maybe a number 3 corner behind Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams. I mean, Greedy's not the guy I think we expected him to be, but like, they have a lot of good players on paper.
BPA, man, best player available.
Yeah.
They really do.
This could be a very
Browns,
good team next
say
year.
you draft one of these receivers in this class and you were able to move Beckham for future more stuff to just add to this team. These guys could be really good for a long time. And without Odell on the field last year, they played pretty well. So I could see him being a piece that they'd be willing to part with if they got a decent package back.
Trade him for a first rounder. See what happens.
Speaking of a first rounder, Billy, I think you're up with the Dallas Cowboys and the 1.04 in the 2016 draft class, Zeke Elliott.
Yeah, Zeke Elliott. This guy is a total monster. Now, Chris and I, we're a lot higher on this guy than most dudes. But Zeke Elliott is another one of those Nick Chubb style, even better in my mind than Nick Chubb. Zeke is an elite, all-world running back. This guy's among the greats. Now, his stats haven't been great. He's been injured, banged up. O-line changes, and this O-line's not as good as it was a few years ago. However, Dak's coming back. With this receiving group, I really like Zeke. Still, yeah, everybody's had a down year. He was still a top 10 running back, still an RB1 in a year where most people are forgetting about him or basically talking like he doesn't play football anymore. Now, we did the same thing a year before last with Alvin Kamara, and we saw what he did coming into this year. He was falling in drafts to places that he should have never been available. Boom, came out right back to the field, being the guy we think he is. And with Zeke, I'm buying everywhere I can get him right now for people that want to sell early. In my mind, I think he's got a great opportunity with this offense to not have as loaded boxes as he's seen. Dak Prescott's not the same game manager he was 2-3 years ago. Zeke Elliott is going to have a lot of open space in this offense with a whole bunch of receiving threats, and everybody in the world scared of Dak.
He's muted.
Still muted.
Still happens at least once a show. Can't get rid of it. Once a show, it happens, guys. Y'all know if y'all have watched this from the beginning. Okay, so here we go, guys. We're going to talk about my boy Zeke, right? A guy that I had as the 1.01 last season. Unfortunate circumstances happen, as they do in every fantasy year, and you got to take it on the chin, right? Well, this year, I am loving it because I'm getting Zeke. What? Y'all have seen 3 of my drafts that I've messaged y'all, and in every one of them, like clockwork, hashtag on brand, Zeke has been my second round guy every draft because I'm targeting this guy so hard in the second round. It's ridiculous. He has never not been a running back 1 in a 12-team PPR league. He has never not had, let's look at this, under 240 touches per game. He has also been over 1,000 scrimmage yards in every one of his seasons, hitting 2,000 in one of them. Last season, when he had a terrible year without Dak, right? He still had 1,256 scrimmage yards and 7 touchdowns. Like, The dude has the safest floor, as like Billy mentions, an elite running back. In my mind, an elite running back can run the ball between the tackles, can catch the ball, and be on the field 1, 2, 3, get you what? 20 touches per game? And that's considered elite, right? 20 touches. Let's look at his game touches. He averages over 20 touches per game with 23, 26, 25, 22, and 19 last season. The dude is super getting clowned on. I don't understand it. Like the Zeke running back, top 4 running back this year. No doubt about it, as long as everyone on the Cowboys stay healthy. And if Kyle Pitts is available when Dallas is on the board, welcome home to Jerry World, baby. Kyle Pitts, tight end for the Dallas Cowboys, because Jerry Jones don't care on that yacht, baby. Best available player. Kyle Pitts, come on, let's go, baby. That's all I got.
If Kyle Pitts lands in Dallas, whoa. CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah,
Does Amari Cooper end up on the trading block in that scenario?
Absolutely not. Jerry's too crazy.
Yeah.
Zeke shouldn't have been there. CeeDee Lamb shouldn't have been in Dallas because they had DeMarco Murray, they had Amari Cooper. Jerry says, you know what? I want the best available player for my offense because offense sells tickets. And he's got the biggest stadium out there. He's trying to sell tickets. He's trying to sell jerseys. This is the whole Dak narrative is amazing.
Hey, Chris.
I know that.
Does going 8-8 perennially sell tickets?
Look, y'all know I'm a Texans fan, and Cowboy Nation love them 8-8. CeeDee Lamb rocks the 8-8, baby. So I don't care. You know, fantasy football is my world.
I hope Kyle Pitts ends up in Dallas. That would be insane.
So, look. First of all, Jerry Jones' biggest issue is that he always goes to best available player. Always, no matter what.
Love him. Consistent, you know?
That's
why they're always 8-8.
They're consistent there, too.
They're very consistent.
Hey, they're just a Jerry Jones grandson away from a playoff. You know, Steven, right? Steven, he's about to graduate this year. Learn a little bit from Dak. Come up, you know, whole Jason Garrett narrative. You know, it's a narrative.
Coach or player, I don't even know who he is.
Win a Super
grandson. It's a quarterback for the University of Arkansas. Go Razorbacks.
He's going to be their quarterback because they just signed Dak Prescott. So we're just going to cut Dak Prescott, and then we're going to start Jerry Jones' grandson at quarterback.
He'd be a Jason Garrett type fella, man.
Oh, he's going to be a backup.
Yeah, and then be the coach.
Got it.
Legacy, man.
Here's the thing. The reason that I'm not in on Kyle Pitts or Kyle, whatever, whoever the fuck, Pitts, that's not the look for the Cowboys, right? Kyle Pitts is a receiver, not a tight end. And that's great in some scenarios.
Every scenario, George Kittle.
Fantasy.
Did you just say George Kittle? George Kittle is one of the best
blocking machine in the league.
Hey,
he is a blocking machine.
He's different. He is not just a straight tight end like Mo Alley Cox.
No.
Top guys.
Hold up.
Aaron Waller,
you're not going to compare, Chris. You're not going to compare George Kittle to Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kittle's a monster blocker. He prides himself on his blocking.
We're
going tight ends again, guys.
Overall, tight end
of Iowa. Of course he can block. He's from the University of Iowa.
We're going too much tight ends.
Yeah,
we love tight ends.
But anyway, so I have a point to running backs as to why Kyle Pitts is being talked about, but it's not in regards to George Kittle's blocking.
Oh, see, look, you can see it here. It's green. Or it's
supposed to be green. It's dye.
Yeah, it's dye.
But listen, Kyle Pitts can't block. Did the Cowboys have an O-line last year?
Ooh, that's concerning.
No. Do they have an O-line going into this year?
We're not going to talk about Kyle Pitts anymore because everyone's seen the meme about Kyle Pitts.
Look. I'm not even trying to talk about him at this point. Okay? What I'm trying to say is that the reason that they shouldn't go with him is because they should go either offensive line or take a tight end later that can actually block. Because you need somebody to block for Ezekiel Elliott.
Here it comes.
No, because you need somebody to block for Ezekiel Elliott, right? I mean, think about this, right? I want to give you some numbers. In college, between, I know I don't do a lot of numbers, guys. It's not my thing.
Put everything
but
down when you said that. Hold on.
in college, Ezekiel Elliott had a nice round number, 650 touches, right?
It's a good number.
NFL, he's had a total of 241 receptions, right? Not talking targets, just receptions.
That's pretty
and
good.
1,413 carries.
Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, that concerns me.
That's a lot.
That totals, and this isn't going back to high school or middle school or pee-wee football, right? We're just talking about college and NFL. 2,304 total touches, not including a target that you threw the ball to him and he got laid out by a linebacker, right? We're just talking about ones where he actually caught the ball or ran the ball. That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm concerned.
There's a certain point where attrition sets in. I'm not saying that it's today, right? I'm not saying it's this season. But if you have no O-line or a questionable O-line and your tight end that you're expecting to block is Kyle Pitts, that's a problem, right? You want to provide any protection you can to him. And it's very tough to really protect a running back, right? It doesn't work, right? Scott Davis, Zeke is overworked. And you're not wrong. I'm not saying that, well, overworked might not be the right word, but they really expect him to take a beating and just roll with it. And there's a certain point where you've paid this guy how much money and you're expecting how many more years out of him, right? I don't like that plan long term. So am I in on Zeke this year? Depends on where he's getting drafted. He's not a first round guy. I'd take him second round, and even then I still have questions. But beyond this year, I really am going to start fading Zeke hard. If you're in a dynasty league, I think this is when you sell him now because the value is still there. I think after this season, as that attrition really starts hitting, he gets another, 240 was the number, right? Another 240 carries and another 50 receptions. We're talking another, 300 plus, touches. Right? We're up to 2,600, Chris. Those are big numbers. 2,600 touches. I'm out.
I got a question for you, Tom. Zeke or David Montgomery? It's kind of a two-part question. Dynasty and or redraft. Zeke or Monty?
Dynasty, it's Monty. That's not a question to me. Like I said, I'm selling Zeke in Dynasty if I have him, just because the value is still high. And I don't know how long that lasts. I'd rather sell here, even if the value goes up slightly and then drops. I'd rather keep it at that high value. For redraft, I'd be really close. I like Monty. I think he's a top 10 running back, and I don't think he's going to be far off of Zeke, if not over him. JB Cho knows. I say his value goes up after the season.
My boy.
Joshua. The same as the last however many seasons, right? Those 240 touches. I mean, look at his yards per attempt. He went from 5.1 his rookie year. We're going to skip 2017 because that was a pretty off year. He only played 10 games. But then it went down to 4.7, 4.5, 4.0. And that's just rushes. I don't like the longevity of him taking this beating that he's taken.
So
and that's not even me.
Let me ask you this real quick. How many touches did you say he's got? What number is that?
He's currently at 2,304.
In the pros, he's at
NFL
16.
and college, correct?
NFL and college.
Okay.
Just NFL, subtract 650 from that. So that's going to be
1654.
There you go. Yeah.
1654. In 5 years, 1654.
1654.
1654,
you say?
Yes.
Just NFL.
Just the NFL.
Just NFL.
1654?
Yes.
The comma right after the one.
Yes. What's going on here?
So here we go, guys.
Yeah, compare somebody else.
I was on Nick's show, P2W, Play to Win, and it was me and Troy and Nick on the show, right? Troy King, one of our guys, supports us. Love Troy. Good job on you, Troy. We were talking about running backs who get overworked, as you would say, right? We talked about my guy, Billy's guy, JTT, our guy, Jonathan Taylor touchdown, getting overworked, right? We're talking about Zeke getting overworked. And me and Troy had differing opinions. So I had to do a little bit of deep dive for the show to get my stats right, because we're stat guys, right? Well, let's look at this, guys. I had 24 NFL players from what year is this? From 1996 until today. 24 players have had over 1,500 touches in the NFL. Zeke being one of them. So good job, guys. He's already done this. But I'm looking at Ron Dane. I'm looking at Steve. I'm sorry, guys. I can't pronounce that name. And also the chart's really small. Steve B. played for Colorado State. Tony Dorsett, Anthony Thomas, Charles White, Justin Jackson, Cedric Benson, Lonzo White, Michael Hart, Ricky Williams, Herschel Walker. Oh, he's way back. Then we're not going to count Herschel Walker. So 23. D'Angelo Williams, Royce Freeman. Oh, Miami's own Myles Gaskin. But here we go, Tom. Wait. These guys who had these huge amounts of workload actually missed less games and overperformed compared to other running backs who didn't have the high workload. They were only down by 2.34 games per year and also 0.5 less points in PPR formatting per year in standard formatting. In PPR formatting, every one of these guys were a top 13 running back in their respective years. Overworked don't mean nothing these days, guys. These guys are ridiculous and they know how to do it. It's situational. The amount of touches is straight volume for us. It's what we can count on. It's what I'm taking to the bank, and I don't care about anything else. Give me the volume.
Chris, I'm going to leave you with one last thought. This is my last point on it, and I'll let us move on here, right?
Wait, I still got to go.
Oh, crap. Well, I'll move on after this, right? I'm sorry, Ryan. Zeke's going to have less than 4 yards a carry this year, which is not ideal. That's not good, right? Going to have less than 4 yards a carry.
I'll make a bet on that.
I think I'll take your side, Tom.
I would gladly take sub 4 yards a carry because, again, every single season, other than his sophomore year where he missed time, it has decreased. I'm leaving that one out because it was way down, by the way. I'm being generous there. It's gone down every single season. He's going to be sub 4 yards a carry, and I would bet sub 1,000 yards.
I don't know about that.
Sub 1,000 yards. I'm
not going to say that.
1,000 yards in his career.
He's been sub 1,000 yards 2 years out of the season, including last year.
Wait. You talking about Justin rushing?
Yes, rushing.
Yeah. Oh, you're not talking about like his whole complete package as a fancy player.
I'm not talking
we're going to cherry pick things. Okay, that's fine.
He'll be sub 1,300.
Okay, I'm going to go now. So I have two things I want to bring up. Tom, I'm agreeing with you on a bunch of that, but with that question you asked, Billy, I'll take Montgomery with Dynasty, but I will take Zeke in redraft. I just think, like JB was saying, man, he's going to still be a fantasy like a beast this year just because of the offense, just because when they get to the goal line, he's going to get his touchdowns. He can operate out of the backfield as a receiver, but I am very concerned with that kind of volume at that age. Like, did any of those backs at 26 have that kind of mileage? Like, that would be an interesting thing to find out.
Damian Tomlinson did.
Yeah, well, LT is a genetic freak.
Zeke's not.
I get it. I do get it. We might be looking at another guy like LT.
Ricky Williams did it.
He was remarkable. Here's the thing that I'm weirded out about. And y'all have only talked about one running back, and I want to talk about another one. There's been a guy on the Cowboys that has outgained Zeke on a yards per attempt basis every year he's been in the league, and his name is Tony Pollard. He has literally had a better yards per carry average both years he's been in the league than Zeke. And I just see that trend. I'm looking at the stats now, and it's down. So I do think he might
6.1 touches per game and 8.1 touches per game. I hope you're utilizing that.
Hey, man, I'll be real too. Like, what defenses are selling out to stop Tony Pollard? They're selling out to stop Zeke. So that's fair. I'm not saying Pollard is a better back than Zeke. I don't mean that at all. What I'm saying is, like, with Pollard has shown capable. I mean, would we all agree Pollard is a pretty capable back? I know they haven't used. He doesn't get the volume. but the guy is a pretty good back. Like, I like the numbers I see with him. The 5.3 yards his rookie year, 4.3, which again was better than Zeke's 4. He had 4 touchdowns and 1 through the air. He had 101 rushes for 435 yards. I like that.
I mean, does this turn into a Cleveland situation?
Not quite, I don't think, because I think Zeke is so much better than Pollard, and I don't think the gap is that much different between Hunt and Chubb. And I think Zeke really is well, look, Chubb is better, but I admit Hunt is a monster. And if Chubb didn't exist, I would be all about Hunt. But when I look at Zeke, I just that much, and it's not just like he's not hitting the edge. Like LT wasn't a between the tackles monster. Zeke is a monster. He pounds people. Like, he likes to eat. He likes to initiate contact. The same reason that I would probably sell, and I do agree with Jay, like, man, maybe sell next year if he comes and gets a bounce back year. I am gone on Zeke after this year if he has a monster year, because you will not get the value again with that kind of volume. Like, again, Pinto, who would imagine that Zeke would have been dropping to you in the second? Like, after this year, never would I have imagined either.
I would have never thought that, because I'm taking him in the 1.04 in every fucking league that I got him in. So
I'm scooping him. I'm scooping him in that second round, because especially in redrafts, I'm like, well, this is criminal undervaluing here. Dak wasn't there. But here's the thing, like, that was a whole year of Dak not being there and him just taking a pounding for no reason. I don't have confidence in the line anymore. I think the offense has got a lot of weapons. They don't need to feed him that kind of volume anymore. If you're trying to make the playoffs, which, I mean, I think that's kind of funny to say, but if they do make the playoffs, they need a fresh Zeke to actually have a chance. So I would look for Pollard to maybe eat a tiny bit more into his workload this year. Maybe they want to see, because they're going to have to re-sign Pollard here shortly. Do you? Or do you look for your next guy? Is Pollard going to be special enough to keep on the team? I think they want to see more of what they got in Pollard. So with those two things being said, I do like Zeke, less so in Dynasty, just because, my God, that is so much work. And the production has gone down steadily as far as per carries go.
Here's one thing I'll leave you with. If you're drafting, talking redraft here, mid to late first round, and you take a guy like JTT or our other guy that we love, free Aaron Jones, and it comes back and you land Monty, you're feeling pretty good. Don't get me wrong. If you take that JTT, that Aaron Jones, and it comes back and you land Zeke, you might have got your RB1 in the second round, and you're probably playing for hardware come week 16. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I agree. The risk is worth the reward.
As long, like I said, I'm not first round on Zeke.
That's fair. That's fair.
I cannot do first round on that. I'm not confident in the O-line. I'm not confident in him just, I'm not going to say falling off a cliff this year, because I don't necessarily think it's just plummeting, but it's going to continue that downward trend is what I see, right? One comparison I've just been looking at was Frank Gore, right? Obviously that's Iron Man in the NFL. To get to close to the number of touches in the NFL, Frank Gore took to his 27-year-old season, so that was 6 full seasons to hit 1641 for touches, so even a little bit under still, right? Albeit his rookie year wasn't much, but it was – you're talking about a difference there. I'll take my gains in selling Zeke at his current value or during the season if he starts having a good season versus holding out hoping he's the next Frank Gore. It's just not worth it to me.
Everyone who's watching the live stream right now on Facebook and Periscope, I believe, or on YouTube, Rumboyz royalty in the house right here. Miles, a.k.a. the Fantasy Peacock, giving all sorts of edits and our graphics. The dude is on point. Son just turned 8, I believe, Miles. And he is getting turned up on this on this St. Patrick's Day, man. Was all in green earlier today. I got just green shorts on right now because I obviously can't wear green up against this because, as you can see, green doesn't show up well against a green screen.
Ooh, I want to see Naked Pinto.
You've seen Naked Pinto.
That's true.
I mean, everyone knows me and Ryan are fraternity brothers, so it happened, right? Okay. Moving forward.
Is what it is.
It is what it is. What are these 5 messages over here? It's from my wife. I gotta shut up.
Uh-oh.
Like Quit talking about Nate Pinto.
Scott, no. Well, let's talk about a team that could have my quarterback there sooner than later, maybe Denver, possibly.
Gardner Minshew?
Look, Gardner Minshew. Look,
I would love that. I would love that.
Let's take a break, right? It's at the 60-minute mark, guys, or 60-minute mark. Gardner Minshew, Minshew Mania. You have no idea how much you mean to this team of guys right here. We absolutely love you and want you in home somewhere that deserves a guy like you, man. Like, obviously, Miles, there. Obviously, dude, gotta get you the shout out, man, for sure. But Gardner, you deserve a place that deserves you, man.
Yeah.
Let's get this guy. What's the hashtag that we're starting to use?
Hashtag Start Minshew 2021. I'm just putting it out now. If you check me out at FFR Tom, we can retweet, quote tweet, respond, whatever you want to do. We should probably get it trending. That'd be pretty cool. I feel like a team would have to start him at that point, right, Marco? Dallas needs to sign Gardner Minshew so he can start over Dak Prescott, right, Marco? He's a way better quarterback.
Look, Marco's in hog heaven right now because he's a Dak truther, guys, and he, like, the dude, I absolutely loathe Dak because I saw Dak come in with Mississippi State to Kyle Field and hand the Aggies their proverbial asses, right? I left, like, with 20 seconds. I left Kyle Field 20 seconds left because Dak did us so terribly. That doesn't happen very often. I walked straight to Northgate and was like, where's the dry bean at? I need to go get some shots, Ryan. Like, get me out of here. Dak just whooped up on us. So Marco loves Dak. Marco loves everything about the Prescott family. He's a tried and true Cowboys guy. Like Tom is a tried and true Eagle fan. We love the banter between the two of them. Marco, like Scott and like Liz, have been with us from the beginning. So thank you so much for chiming in again, Marco. Follow this guy, Marco. Let me put his thing back up here. You go follow this guy on Instagram or what other social media is he on? Twitter, Facebook. He is a fisherman of the South, man. A son of Texas, will show you how to fish left and right. So getting back to it, Gardner Minshew, you need a team. But let's go into the running backs, right? For the Denver Broncos, a guy that I've loved for a while, Melvin Gordon, right? Just because his name's like a beer. Then you have the hometown kid, Philip Lindsay. And I believe that Denver signed a third running back in, we were talking about it just earlier.
Mike Boone.
There you go, Mike Boone, a guy that I absolutely
you weren't talking about the Rolls Royce.
Oh, Royce Freeman.
Right, Royce Freeman too, right? You got four guys there. You're really looking at two of them, and then the guy that's the backup, $2.3 million, because you got to follow the money in Mike Boone. Mike Boone, like I mentioned, I'm wearing purple right now. When he was with the Vikings, dude, he should have put you over the edge in that playoff game, and he came back with 2.3 points. So you absolutely hate that for Mike Boone. But Melvin Gordon, little, off the field issues, so the the Broncos have to mitigate their risk, right? So I'm looking at Melvin Gordon, right? Obviously a guy that is a first-round draft talent. The splits are there between him and Philip Lindsay. He's been very, very good. A running back one in most years, or he's got the full workload. I'm not going to look over these numbers right now because we've already got off a little bit, and I want to kind of keep this going. So, Tom, you go into the Denver background for running backs because I'm only interested in Melvin Gordon. If I don't get Melvin Gordon in any of my leagues, then I don't want Philip Lindsay. I'm just not interested.
Yeah, I mean, I like Melvin Gordon. Don't get me wrong. Very good running back. He's productive, right? He might not get the most carries just with this kind of split backfield that Denver works. Denver's a weird place, right? We got the whole issue.
Hold on, Tom. I'm sorry. Miles, you live in McAllen? Marco is a coach he was your running back for the McAllen Bears. I'm sorry. Marco sent me this film of him. We're watching film right now of college athletes. So Marco was like, hey, check out this film of this running back essay. I check it out. It's a little 3-foot tall running back juking fools. I'm like, Marco, that's not no college running back. That's you. Sorry. Keep
Just
on going.
Texas things.
I need a Marco jersey, man. I'll wear
Hey,
it.
boy,
Wednesday.
Marco,
Yo,
you
let
need
me
to give
get
us.
an Ayala jersey.
I'll rock it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tom.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I was gonna say I like Melvin Gordon though. This whole split backfield with Phillip Lindsay thing, I don't know. Denver as a whole is kind of weird, right? It's like, what does the offense look like? Is Drew Lock the quarterback, right? That's obviously question number one for them this offseason. I mean, they have weapons at receiver. The offensive line could improve a little bit. But beyond that, if Gordon gets the touches, he averages well over 4 yards a carry, last year, 4.6 yards a carry, but only on 215 touches, right? So, Marco, you're quick, bro. 215 touches, 986 yards. He did get 9 touchdowns, which is something he's always done well with, is getting into the end zone. Definitely helps him out. Not the biggest receiving threat since coming to Denver, though. He kind of dropped off from his days in LA. Phillip Lindsay, on the other hand, the Denver boy, first 2 years of his career, over 1,000 rushing yards. Again, he's always been over that 4 yard per carry mark. Non-factor with receiving. So I don't know off the top of my head, is Mike Boone going to be able to help him out receiving wise? And could that even steal some touches from both of them? I mean, they don't really have a receiving threat out of the backfield from what I see, though, which doesn't help that offense.
Sorry, that made me laugh. The turtle speed. And then I swallowed some spit.
I'm about to say a
sorry.
5.02 dog. Like my shuttle time was like a 5.43. So
I had a good shuttle time.
4.340.
say what?
I had a good shuttle time.
That equates to like a 4.340, Chris.
Yeah, no, my shuttle time was quick as heck.
We got a little
Right.
bromance going on here in the live comments over here, guys, between Marco and Peacock. Old Rio Grande Valley alums, both of them. You gotta love it, right? The world's not so small, is it?
All right,
Texas sure ain't.
back on Texas's. Yeah, let's get back on track. Sorry, I'm off track.
We
So,
all are. It's okay to
Yeah,
happen.
we are. We're having fun. Melvin Gordon, despite playing in the league for 6 years and Lindsay only 3, is only a year older than Lindsay. And that's something that really shocked me when I was like digging into the stats I wanted to look at. Also, if you look, Gordon hasn't had the same kind of volume that a lot of these guys have had that have been in the league that have turned in 28. So that being said, I am not a big fan of Melvin Gordon as an early round back. I like him later just because he's serviceable. I don't see them adding anybody that's going to compete with him directly. Lindsay's there, but he's definitely shown that he is the second fiddle, both on the ground and through the air, to Gordon. Otherwise, I really did like Lindsay. I thought, man, this guy's going to really push Melvin Gordon. He wasn't healthy the whole year. He wasn't that productive the whole year. Gordon was more productive than I expected, considering he was coming off a 3.8 yards per carry average with the Chargers the year before. I just thought, I don't know if he can stay healthy. He's been missing games. He had a reasonably solid season. So I like him as a late back, as my flex option type of a back. Like when we're all loading up on backs, throwing in a Melvin Gordon in there is not going to be a problem. It's going to give you depth. It's going to give you a guy that you can start almost every week. But for me, I like to get really excited about my running backs, and this guy doesn't excite me that much. Neither does Lindsay. Neither does this. I have a feeling that this offense is going to be more focused on a Sutton, Judy, Fant. Like they should be with that personnel, not running the ball as much as, say, a Dallas or somebody like that. So I'm kind of avoiding even like Mike Boone. I think the fact that both of their backs were hurt some games last year, Mike Boone just makes sense for them because he's proven, my goodness, he's proven in a game or two, he can really go off. So you have a guy that can be a serviceable, bring one guy in. But the other two guys, to me, who's getting excited about, I got Melvin Gordon? Who's calling their wife and being like, Melvin Gordon's on our team, babe? Or Phillip Lindsay's on our team, babe? Like, no, I don't care that much. Nobody. Exactly. You're just grabbing them late because he's another running back, and we just hoard running backs like hoarders. But to me, Gordon, no, I don't want that much of any of these guys, honestly.
The Glock, baby.
The Glock.
Me and Tom Boy, let's go.
Let's go, Drew Lock. Sorry, Ryan.
All right, I don't have that much to say about them.
So, Philip Lindsay, I could care less. I will not own him anywhere unless it's a bye-week fill-in waiver wire guy and Melvin Gordon banged up. Hey, I sometimes call my wife. She cares about my fantasy team.
I was about to say, I think only I do that.
Yeah. No, my wife listened. She just has to, I guess. You know, when you're in it like this, it is what it is. But Philip Lindsay, like I said, unless Melvin Gordon's banged up and he's the lead back and he's a waiver wire guy, I'm probably not going to own him anywhere. Melvin Gordon, let me tell you why I love Melvin Gordon. Last season, 2014 at Wisconsin, over 2,500 rushing yards, 29 touchdowns. This guy was crazy good. 5 games over 200 yards, and my favorite, the 408 and 4 touchdowns he hung on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. So that's why I'm a huge Melvin Gordon fan. Love him. Love the talent. I was high on him coming in that rookie year when he had no touchdowns. He's had a few double-digit touchdown seasons, but if you look at the stats, last year was his second highest yards per carry. Now, the receiving numbers, he wasn't really a guy that caught a lot of balls out of the backfield in college, and he wasn't really that guy early. However, if you play with Phillip Rivers, you're going to catch balls out of the backfield being a running back with Phillip Rivers. And if you don't believe me, there are people drafting Austin Eckler in the 3rd round of drafts people. That is what Phillip Rivers can do for a running back. Now, back to Melvin Gordon. I'm with you guys. It's not that exciting. However, I do feel like he's a little bit underrated. DUI situation could come into play. If he has to miss time, obviously that's going to hurt a little bit. However, Melvin Gordon's a guy that I feel like hasn't really played his best football in Denver, and maybe he's been sidetracked a little bit. But if they get their passing game going, also no Cortland Sutton in this offense last year. We all know how a big threat wide receiver can help the running game. Melvin Gordon given those opportunities. A guy like him that can carry the load, if he can average that 4.6 yards per carry again, Melvin Gordon could have a pretty big year. But this is a guy that's really always been touchdown dependent. And last year we saw him under that 10 touchdown mark. That kind of kept him up there around that RB1 range, high-end RB2.
These fools are chatter cracking me up right now, boy.
I get it if we don't have anything else to say about Denver.
Yeah, I think that's it. Other than Drew Lock is the quarterback with the most swag in the NFL.
Minshew
doesn't have as much swag. There's a difference between swag and just the embodiment of 70s porn star.
Boy, that's as swaggy as it comes.
Swag's not the right word, man.
Like,
I don't know.
Okay, no, Ryan, check this out. Here we go. Like, Drew Lock is like swaggy like these kids are these days, like in the show me state, right? Gardner Minshew's swaggy like, boy, I don't got no social medias, but all you mother truckers know who I am.
There you go.
I like that
Gardner
kind of swag.
Minshew sells tickets, though, and that's the big thing. So all the teams that listen to us, because I'm sure lots of NFL teams are listening, Gardner Minshew sells tickets. If Jerry Jones is listening, Gardner Minshew's getting traded right this minute. That's all it takes.
Look, prior to Ty God getting to my Houston Texans, boy, like, first of all, that's the dream spot for Ty God for me, like y'all know. But I was pulling for some Gardner stuff in Houston. So
I can't wait for somebody to come in there and just take it from him like week 3.
Look, that's what Tyrod Taylor is the best Brit. Like,
he's going to get stabbed in the lung again by a needle.
He's like Good Luck Chuck. You know, that movie with what's his name? Dane Cook. There you go. The girls date him and then they dump him or whatever, and then they get their match. That's what Tyrod is for the NFL. You got Josh Allen, you got Baker Mayfield, and you got Justin Herbert. You know, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Sorry, Baker.
Oh,
that's my bad, right? I love Baker.
Hey, just one thing I want to mention is the funniest thing ever is when Rex Ryan was roasting Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield said, "Look, if you don't wear orange and brown, I don't care what you have to say." Rex Ryan comes on TV wearing orange and brown tie. I mean, that is the best trolling ever. Baker Mayfield, I'm glad you rebounded well, man, because this is going to be a long year with Rex Ryan. on ESPN roasting you all year long. So good for
Hey,
him.
Chris,
guys,
keep that
Miles
post up, Chris.
Texas fan. So
that post down there at the bottom, if you just go back. So take out the Y and swap the U and the R. There you go. There you go.
Real funny.
That's what he plays like.
750 on your English SAT score.
I got like a 450 on the English part, but I nailed the math part.
Because that's what you do, man. That's fair. Look, guys, I think it's my turn. We're going to talk about Detroit, who, man, like, can they get it right? Like,
no,
the big deal is, in my mind, you get rid of Matt Stafford and you get Jared Goff. Obviously, like we mentioned, the GM of they're just all buddies now, right? And they paid to get rid of Goff. But then the Detroit Lions signed Michael Brockers, who was on Jared Goff's team at LA, and said that Stafford was better than Goff. And now they're back together. Like, it's a big old, like, a telenovela, if you would. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the second round pick, the 35th overall pick in the 2020 draft is DeAndre Swift, SEC running back. You know, last year is not a good year to take a big, like, sample size, right? Because COVID, the practices, all that kind of stuff. It's all got an asterisk next to it. What you can say about this kid, though, is when he had the opportunity on the field, he performed. 102. You're right, Miles. Boy, I had to. 102 rush attempts with, let's look at how many. 43 receptions out of only 54 targets, 4.5 targets per game. He's about, all these numbers about to go up with Jared Goff over there without, I'm thinking, right, without Kenny Golladay. He's got, one foot out the door. You got Hawkinson, obviously, and they signed who? A wide receiver, Tyrell Williams, I think.
Tyrell Williams
out of Oakland. There you go. So you got the field stretcher guy, but you got no one else. DeAndre Swift with Jared Goff, who can't throw, in my mind, the ball down the field further than 35 yards, is going to get fed. So, yeah, I think Detroit still has Kerryon Johnson. They signed another running back, but
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams, not just
there. You go. Oh, well, okay, that changes my mind a little bit because Jamal Williams is a man amongst boys.
Yeah, he's solid for sure.
This is kind of a 1A, 1B type situation right now. Obviously, DeAndre Swift's a little younger than Jamal Williams. Wow, this changes my mind on DeAndre Swift a lot because I've seen him go in startups early second round.
Me and Billy were talking about this. We hate that signing for everybody involved.
I'm going with, I mean, DeAndre Swift's falling down my board. I'm glad I have one share of this guy in the dynasty, the Ryder Bowl that we're in him last year. So
sell to somebody that didn't realize they signed Jamal Williams yet.
Me. This is what this looks like.
That's you. Sell to a you.
I'm like, whoa, like
I wouldn't sell though.
It's not worth selling, but like it
caps the potential because Jamal Williams is a very similar back. You know, coming in with the new coaching staff for that New Orleans offense, we expect a lot of targets to the running back position, which made DeAndre Swift's floor really high, especially in the PPR format. Great dynasty stash. Showed some potential last year, but with Jamal Williams coming in, like I said, very, very, very similar player to DeAndre Swift. Maybe not quite as electric, but definitely a guy that developed into a much better than average running back while he was in Green Bay with Aaron Jones. We just saw Aaron Jones develop at a much faster pace, and Aaron Jones was the chosen one by quarterback Aaron Rodgers. So Jamal Williams has a chip on his shoulder, something to prove, and he stayed in the division that he knows very well. This does not bode well for DeAndre Swift. Not saying he won't have a good season. I just see this being more of a 50-50 split than like a 75-25 type situation.
So Miles, real quick, Miles and Joshua bring up good points. I can see both, right? Does Williams actually help Swift? Because, right, two good running backs versus just one good running back both elevate each other, right? Because they can both be on the field. They can both be more serviceable. Or is it a cap on the ceiling and okay, that's fair. I see the nods.
So I think it's a cap on the ceiling.
Hang on. So here's the thing. It comes down to how does Dan Campbell use these guys, right?
Who's the better knee biter?
No, not even that.
That is the question.
No, so look at it this way. They lost Galladay, right? Like, look at their receivers. Their receivers aren't good.
Which ones?
Yeah, exactly. So
Quintez
Tyrell Williams is your number one with Victor Bolden Jr. and Quintez Cephas. That's it.
God.
So, they have no receivers. So you could get really creative with it this year. Bring in another tight end, run like a 2 tight end, 2 running back, 1 receiver set most of the year, and it could get really interesting. Am I wrong? Like that could be a fun offense to watch. And like this is a tight end coach. Like Dan Campbell was a tight end guy. So like I would love to see that offense because both of these guys can catch. DeAndre Swift last year, he had 57 targets, 40. What was that?
He did most of his work out of the backfield last year.
Exactly. 57 targets, 46 receptions for 357 yards. Rushing, it was 114 rushes for 521, which isn't bad. 4.6 yards per carry, 8 touchdowns. Look at Jamal Williams, who, by the way, last year, keep in mind, they had Aaron Jones and Saquon's 2.0 A.J. Dillon, right? So he's competing with 2 guys in that backfield in Green Bay. But last year had 505 yards on 119 rushes for 2 touchdowns. It's 4.2 a carry. And then he had 31 receptions and 35 targets for 236. Year before, pretty similar numbers. About 4.3 yards per carry, 253 receiving yards on 39 catches. So I could really picture an offense here that has 2 running backs off the sides of Jared Goff with 2 tight ends and a receiver, because that's all you have is literally 1 receiver on your depth chart. It could be fun. And
Hawkinson might get 200 targets.
He probably will. And here's the thing, they pick at number 7. If he's there, do you bring in Kyle Pitts, whatever his name is?
I mean,
I don't hate that.
Be your wide receiver 1.
Robin Detroit Beastie has said that he would love to see the 2 tight ends set in Detroit. So
what if they get Najee Harris?
God, don't even. No, because look at it this way, right? So if you don't take Kyle Pitts at 1, or excuse me, in the first round, in the second or third, you take a guy, the Freiermuth, the guy at Duke, Noah Gray, somebody that can block and everything. Like Kyle Pitts, you can play in line, but let's be honest, he's not blocking. He's just running routes every single down. But it could still be a fun offense, and these 2 running backs can just be in there the whole time. And by the way, don't forget about Kerryon Johnson. You have a third running back here that I'm not saying he's great. But you look at his numbers, I mean, there's potential. You look at his rookie season, he was doing 5.4 yards per carry. I mean, he's gone over 200 receiving yards a season. He's up around 10 yards a reception. He can catch 2. Like you could theoretically run a 2 running back set the whole time, and every single one of these guys can catch the football out of the backfield. I mean, super, super late rounds. I don't hate him as a pick.
So, guys, for Miles over here in our chat, right? It doesn't move Swift down for him. We've already discussed it does for us. I pulled it up for us to see or to look at. DeAndre Swift right now from ECR from Fantasy Pros is the running back 8 in Dynasty PPR formatting.
Okay.
I mean, this is from ECR and this is for today, right? I'm not like that. I don't know where Miles has him. Obviously, he'll probably put it in the chat here soon, but I don't have him at 8 prior to this. With Jamal, he's out of my top 15 for me.
Oh, not for me.
That's fair.
He'll be 22 this year, and I can't get over that. He did not have a lot of wear and tear, so for me. Yes, what this does is it caps his ceiling, especially short term. But were y'all scared of drafting Aaron Jones last year? Nobody was. even though Jamal Williams
Aaron
is there.
Jones is son of Texas. Ain't no one scared of anybody like a son of Texas. Boy, you give him the juice.
Like, I'm really not high on this Detroit offense. So my only concern is that they get behind real bad and they're not going to be able – but that benefits all those running backs too out of the backfield. So
Ryan, real quick question. Count on your hands and toes, right? Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Jonathan Taylor, touchdown. Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, free Aaron Jones, J.K. Dobbins, Josh Jacobs, Ezekiel Elliott, Antonio Gibson.
I love Gibson.
And James Robinson.
Yeah, I think that
I think DeAndre Swift better than DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift is younger than every one of those guys.
Wait. Let me ask Ryan this.
Well, it's Dynasty though.
Better than DeAndre Swift in your mind?
In Dynasty right now, I'm taking him over Henry. I might take him over. That's fair
because that was 15 guys, so I was going to ask that. That's fair.
Yeah, like just in Dynasty, and it depends. Am I winning now or am I trying to win in a few years? Because if I'm winning in a few years, then I'm taking Swift over quite a few of those dudes. If I'm trying to win now, yeah, he gets pushed way down.
That's fair, Miles.
Real quick, Miles,
pretty accurate.
Marlon Mack is back with the Colts.
Yeah, Marlon Mack re-signed earlier this evening. He's a Colt.
Done deal.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
They're about to trade his ass.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me.
That's fair. Sign and trade?
Yep.
Or JTT Marlon Mack with Carson Wentz?
Look, I mean, y'all know every first quarter of the Colts, Frank Wright and me, man, that would be the deal.
So here's the last thing I got about what we're just talking about here is, and Williams to me, Jamal Williams is a very similar back to DeAndre Swift. Maybe not quite as electric, quite the blue chip talent, but I just feel like with these other running back tandems we've talked about, they complement each other. These guys kind of mirror each other. They kind of mimic each other. So I feel like it's kind of a situation where, Jonathan Williams kind of coming to be the vet with the young guy, but let's be honest, a 35-year-old Adrian Peterson kind of capped what DeAndre Swift's value was last year. And I'm not saying as far as dynasty, looking down the road, Jamal Williams is a problem, but for 2021, Jamal Williams will be a problem.
Yes, I agree, Billy. I also want to say, I mean, we're not really giving him in 13 games and 4 where they considered him the starter. The dude had 10 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, like that's honestly, how many did any rookie have that was more than 10?
JTT
and in very limited.
Very limited. Yeah.
I'll tell you the biggest travesty was that the Chiefs drafted CEH and not DeAndre Swift.
Oh my God. Or not any of those guys. That's crazy.
That's the biggest problem in the NFL right now, in my opinion.
Hey, y'all remember?
Yeah, they just can't pound it. Oh yeah, I miss that guy.
James Conner full of Lindsay times 2, right?
Sure. Yeah, he's a decent little back too. Unfortunately, he's just getting buried on the depth chart with some really good players in Indy.
Yep.
Was he the guy at UConn?
No, that was Donald Brown. He's gone.
Donald Brown. There we go.
Bum.
Well, I don't remember who's up.
Mississippi is what he went to.
There we go. I don't know who's up, but we're talking about a son of Texas right here, and then Tom's guy with the Saquads 2.0. Green Bay Packers, Aaron Jones out of the UTEP Miners, boy. We're talking out 182 in the 2017 draft, and then we're looking at a guy who likes twos, 2 legs, 2 quads. He's 22. He got drafted in the year 2020 in the second round at number 62. I'm talking about A.J. Dillon, right? Well, here's the deal, right? A lot of people had A.J. Dillon up there, and that's the lottery ticket, right? Because all signs for, and you can't. That's trusting the process right there. A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones, where they drafted A.J. Dillon versus Aaron Jones, what they were going to have to pay Aaron Jones, and what it is absolutely crazy. Had every fantasy analyst who looks at numbers on their head because it didn't make sense unless you use your gut a little bit with it. Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Jones. They got rid of Mike McCarthy because Aaron Rodgers loved Aaron Jones so much. And you believed in the kid, right? A lot of people do because the hashtag free Aaron Jones, like we all say most of the time when we talk about this guy. Top elite guy. I'm talking a bell cow guy, 3-down back in Aaron Jones. I don't know what A.J. Dillon's going to do because he's the same guy, right? He's a 3-down back too. Why have both of them? But you just paid Aaron Jones for 4 years, so he's your guy, essentially, right? Unless you got some crazy plans in the works. I don't need to go over Aaron Jones numbers because I do every week. Send a text free Aaron Jones. You guys talk about the difference because I know at least Tom was smart and invested in A.J. Dillon, and it's one of those things where it's like, golly, like a surefire, like Dave Portnoy of Barstool, $50,000 bet on Villanova, and Villanova loses by 3. Like, come on, like how's that happen? So.
Yeah, I went pretty in on Dillon. I was betting big, right? The good news is for the majority of leagues, not every league that I have Dillon, but a lot of them, I've also got Aaron Jones. So I kind of handcuffed myself, was ready to go whoever was with Green Bay. And in most of them, I was able to get A.J. Dillon fairly cheap, right? Maybe, market value or pushing market value for him, but in most cases I was able to get him over the last couple of years in Dynasty. So I'm not super mad at that, but A.J. Dillon, maybe a little bit less of a 3-down back, just his receiving is, we're not quite sure. Dude's 6 foot 250, right? Like he's not built like a receiving back. He's a dude that's going to run you over. He's Saquon's 2.0. His quads are 50 pounds of that mass. So I do like A.J. Dillon a lot, but I'll probably hold him, to be honest, just because I think the value's still there. Aaron Jones is 27 this year. How many more years of, do you really have as a running back? We talked about Zeke earlier and attrition setting in. At some point, it does have to set in, and A.J. Dillon does. He's on a 4-year contract, right? He's as long as he doesn't get traded, and if he does, great. I don't care. That's fine. He'll play somewhere else. But he's going to get touches somewhere over the next couple of years, and worst case, he's a bench stash. Aaron Jones, obviously the guy over the last 2 years, 1,000+ rushing yards, 47 and 49 receptions over the last 2 years. He's a monster. There's not much to say on that. So, guys, what do you have on this one?
Yeah, Miles, I think that I would hold on to Swift, Jones, and Ingram while they still had value, because that is going to crater off of a cliff before too long. I still like David Johnson. If you're trying to win this year, maybe hold on to him. But if somebody's really looking at Mark Ingram and being like, oh, he's going to get – all right,
wrong team, Ryan.
Do what?
Wrong team.
What? No, I'm answering his question about Mark Ingram in the comments.
I missed that.
Yeah, gotcha. So, yeah, I would move Ingram and – yeah, I'd move Ingram and Johnson, and I would hold Swift, Jones, and Dillon. To me, Dillon still has tons of dynasty because he's just a genetic anomaly. You look at the guy, the way he's built. Not many guys are built like that. I could see him vulturing some touchdowns from Jones. Jones is going to have to score from 10 yards plus out, because when they get into those 3-yard first and goal from the 3, I'm pounding Aaron Jones and maybe actually Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams kills, because Rodgers is just going to be like, I think we should get 30 touchdowns for Devontae Adams this year. And he's just going to – that was crazy this year. I never seen anything like that.
How many times were they on the – like you said, the 3, 2, 1 yard line? And it's like everyone knew it's going to Devontae, stop him. And every time, boom, like clockwork, Devontae
couldn't stop him.
Like ridiculous.
So, yeah, I would hold on to both of those guys. I love that. That's a lot of youth in your backfield with Swift and Dillon, and Jones is a primo type guy right now. That'd be a happy place for me in a dynasty league if that was my backfield. And you got – look, I think so you have all your rookie picks, but you finish second. You might be able to get a guy like Michael Carter or Gainwell or Javonte Williams, depending on where they go.
That I think Kyle Trask gets picked up. someone's going to take Kyle Trask, Mac Jones.
Yeah. So you might be able to get a back in this draft in that first round pick in a 12 team, and you're picking 11. I could seriously see, or you're going to have your choice of some really good receivers, or your choice of really good quarterbacks if they go so running back heavy. I think you can get a running back. I'm not finished with my running back studying, but I like the running backs in this draft, and I like some of the later guys too. But I'm sorry, back to Green Bay. Aaron Jones is a monster, an absolute monster. There's nothing that I see here. The guy has averaged 5.5 yards per attempt every single year in the league, except for last year when he scored 19 touchdowns. So he's either going to get you 19 touchdowns or 5.5 yards per carry. That has been what he's done so far. That is remarkable. He's a monster out of the backfield. No weakness there. He's totally versatile in every way. Why isn't he in Buffalo? It drives me crazy. But A.J. Dillon is going to cap him, but not in the same way that other running back twos are capping their guy, because you don't have to pull Jones out in any scenario. You can run him at the goal line. You can play him in the third down. Dillon is just that power. If you want to finish teams, bring in A.J. Dillon. You're up. You want to grind the ball out. Make defenses hate the fact that they have to tackle that monster. But on the other side, do what? Yeah. Oh, yeah. A.J. Dillon is going to be valuable this year, but I don't think he's going to be a guy you want to be starting as one of your RBs. He's more of a flex guy or situational. Once again, Aaron Jones misses any times. Holy bejesus. You're going to really be digging this A.J. Dillon stuff with Jamal Williams gone. But yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, Miles, same, man. I figured I'd be done with my rookies by now. I'm not. I think there's just so many of them. There's so many of them this year that I'm intrigued by. It really is a crazy rookie year. But sorry, I'll move on. I like both these backs. I love Aaron Jones. I really like Dillon, and I love Dillon in Dynasty.
I'll start talking about A.J. Dillon just because he's the young guy and has a lot of hoopla, especially in the Dynasty community. This is a guy, like you guys said, if Aaron Jones misses any time, this is an RB1. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad situation for A.J. Dillon for the time being. Jamal Williams has had at least 100 carries each of the last 4 years, and he's averaged about 30 catches over the last 4 years in Green Bay. So here's what that tells me. Aaron Jones, few more catches. A.J. Dillon can have that 125, 150 carries, and that's probably enough for him to have a pretty significant total rushing-wise, and maybe doesn't really even cut into Aaron Jones' touchdowns that we expected. He had the one outlier of 19 touchdowns, but even with A.J. Dillon getting Jamal Williams touches, maybe even a little bit more, you still expect Aaron Jones to be in that 9 or 11 touchdown range easily. So, like you said, 5.5 yards per carry, 3 of his 4 years in the NFL.
Wow.
That's pretty consistent. He's going to get the rock, and A.J. Dillon's going to be a nice compliment, and maybe might even keep Aaron Jones a little healthier later in the years. We've seen him struggle with injuries. Last year was really banged up down the stretch, still playing ball, though. But I really like this tandem. Aaron Jones, to me, though, he's a different running back. He has a style that's all to his own, shifty but powerful. One of those guys that you can do anything with. He's a killer in the screen game. I love that he's back in Green Bay if he doesn't go to the Bills, which we've been hoping for so long. Would have loved to see him with Josh Allen. But Aaron Jones, a monster. But A.J. Dillon nipping at his heels for this job regardless. And, hopefully he gets those touches that Jamal Williams got and a little boost in the points per game PPR-wise for Aaron Jones. This is a really nice backfield to be investing in right now.
Agreed.
Very much agreed. I mean, A.J. Dillon, dude. Saquon's 2.0, as Tom mentioned. Jamal Williams last year, I'm pretty sure there were a couple games where both him and Aaron Rodgers were both top 25 backs. Is Green Bay going to invest in another offensive weapon? No, absolutely not. So you got Devontae Adams, Aaron Jones, now A.J. Dillon as opposed to Jamal Williams, and the slew of wide receiver threes that they put out there. They're all
Robert Tonyan at tight end.
There you go. Oh, George Kittle 2.0. They live together. They train together. You like Bob Tonyan.
Less of a blocker, but
we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not saying bad.
They have the same haircut too, so I don't know.
Rodgers keeps defenses very honest.
First, Ryan, we all know how much you love it. Look, you went from 6 to midnight real quick talking about Rodgers, boy.
I'm surprised you can't see it on this.
He was all Rodgers. Came up real quick about that.
I mean, I'd love to play with Rodgers because you cannot sell out to stop the run. He will destroy you.
That's fair. Guys, we talked about quite a few more teams than we thought we were going to tonight. We're at about 100 minutes on the night. Scott, yeah, Rodgers is the man. He's got, 3-4 more years in him? At least, I think. I mean,
me too.
So,
if he wants to.
If he wants to. Everyone who's watched us, you know that we run the St. Jude Bowl. This year will be the same as last year. We're going to have more teams, more divisions, bigger payout, bigger donation to St. Jude, which is the ultimate goal. Ryan, let everyone know again where they can sign up for this or pre-register for this, because we have everyone who is already in it last year. We'll be sending out those pre-registrations here pretty shortly.
Yeah, we've got a big list, guys. We're expecting it to be even bigger this year. It was a blast. It really was fun last year. We're excited to get it going again. It's benefiting a great cause. Plus, the winner gets to take home a nice big chunk of money as well. It's just we're trying to do something good for the community, and we're trying to build a fantasy group where all of these people can come together. We want as many as we can get. It's going to be exciting. We're going to raise a bunch of money. And y'all are all going down. It's so simple. If you want to get involved, you can message any one of us four on Twitter. You can message the Fantasy First Rounders on Twitter. We've got a list. We haven't started filling the leagues just yet. I was talking to Pinto about this earlier. We don't want to have the last league be 12 guys who all sign up together in the same league. Like, we want to have everybody split up in variety. I don't want to be in the same league as you three guys. Like, I don't want to draft with y'all anymore. I'm really sick of it. Y'all know all my strategies, and I know y'all's.
Because you'll lose.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Did you finish above me in any leagues we were in this year? I know Pinto beat me in the finals. Pinto beat me in the championship.
Nobody asked, Ryan.
Okay, I did.
I have no idea, to be honest. I don't remember.
I don't know either. It was a genuine question. It was a genuine question.
I have absolutely no idea.
I just want to be in Scott Davis's division so we can still play against each other. Because, Scott, I won't draft a quarterback in the first round this year for fun. I'm coming to win this thing.
As Scott made me remember something in all of it, we're going to have a best ball tournament this year. We're going to have an auction tournament this year. We're going to have a vampire league. We're going to have a guillotine series. We're going to do a pick'em. We're going to do an eliminator. Like, we're doing everything, guys. We want every aspect of fantasy. We're going to be covering that. So if all you have to do is message us that you want involvement in anything, and when we start getting these leagues filled, we are going to send. Here's the vampire setup. Here's the guillotine setup. We're going to send you everything, and you sign up for whatever you want. Again, we're with St. Jude on this, so we're going to raise. We're going to see how much money we can really raise for St. Jude this year. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be payouts and all this stuff. We're really excited to really expand what was a super successful year one and push it into year two in a whole different place. Like, this is going to be huge, guys. We're going to have every angle covered. So if you want, I got you, Scott. I will have every single league sent to you. I personally cannot wait. I got guillotine last year for me. That format is insanity. So I'm really looking for. I'll be in every one of those leagues if I could. Obviously, I'm not going to do that, but I can't get enough of that guillotine league. Really excited to get some vampire stuff going because I don't have a lot of experience with that. So it's going to be fun. There's not going to be anything we're not going to be covering.
I won at least 3 times the donation to St. Jude's this year.
I think we can get that. I think, Tom, I honest to God think that is underselling what we're going to be able to do. I would say
with
5.
The buy-in.
That's going to be, we can donate
we're not
6K.
Buy-in or anything, right?
Nope, no buy-in. Nobody. But the thing is, not counting the original bowl we did last year, which should be bigger, when you include every other aspect of what we're doing this year, we could raise some serious Brian, money.
Had we mentioned what the buy-in versus what last year's payout was? I mean, so let's be honest, right? Like, everyone wants to know what's the risk, what's the reward.
Fair. That's a good point.
Super, super awesome.
Yes. So it's $20 to get into the league. Basically, half of what we make from all of the buy-ins is going to St. Jude's. The other half basically all goes to first, with second getting some money back, and third basically getting a little bit more than their money back as well.
What did last year look like?
Last year, first place took home $1,200. Like, for a $20 buy-in, first place took home $1,200. Rusty Meyer, Billy, you're on that side of me. Billy's buddy Rusty won the whole thing. It's $1,200 for a $20 keeper league. Yes, Scott, tell more about it, and we can get me a bigger prize when I win the whole thing. The more people you bring into this, the better I'm going to do. Because I'm not drafting Michael Thomas. I'm not drafting
and it's going to be
Michael Thomas,
decision maker right there.
Yeah, that was a blast. So yeah, we are looking, like Tom said, it's going to be bigger this year. So it's going to be at least $1,200 to first place and at least $1,200 to St. Jude's, just from that one format. When you put into guillotine, the best ball, the auction, the pick'em, the eliminator, all of that stuff combined, we're going to make a lot of money for St. Jude and a lot of money for our winners as well. I mean, it's a win-win, guys. Scott, we'll see. I mean, Scott made it very close. He was in the playoffs. We have a pretty fun little playoff setup where a bunch of people can qualify for playoffs, and it gets crazy. Scott can attest that playoffs were nuts. I was trying to keep everything updated, and it was a handful when you got like 40 teams in the playoffs going.
It's going to be bigger this year.
It's going to be bigger this year, guys. We're really excited. I've got a ton of people already signed up. I want to see as many people as we can get signed up for this. Is going to be a blast. It's going to be a blast. $1,200 minimum.
$20 entry.
$20.
Half of it goes to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital right off the bat. So gotta love it. Hopefully, Billy, we can get a new hype video this year from our guy out of the University of Tennessee, boy.
Oh yeah.
Travis Stevens helped us out last year. I'm sure we could get him in on it this year to help us out again. He loves making those videos. Used to play in a Madden league with Travis, as well as Travis Henry, a good friend of his. That's another NFL back. So I'm friends with these guys on Facebook. They help me out a little bit time to time as Madden connects. But man, you want to see some real Madden players? These guys are another level. So a lot of fun. That's how I know T. Stevens. So he used to make some really, really fun Madden videos for tournaments that we had. So I'm glad he could help us out. That was a lot of fun.
Gardner Minshew, if you don't have a starting job, you should get in the St. Jude Bowl because you can get paid, brother. Draft yourself in round 1.
Tom, what is this? It's like, what, day 30 of us?
Man.
Like, just begging Gardner. Like, Tom, you and his sister are friends on Twitter.
We're not begging, right?
I'm begging. I will beg.
I'm begging.
You guys don't have to beg. I will beg.
I'll beg with you.
I'll do a lot of things to get Gardner Minshew on the show. But here's the thing. Actually, I'll tell you what I would even like even more than having Gardner Minshew on the show is just a simple shout out of Gardner Minshew of our St. Jude League. Because honestly,
huge.
All bullshit aside, right? That means more than coming on the show or anything like that. Because I'll tell you what, that helps children that need that, right? Like I don't know about you guys, but like that's a big thing. Like to me, like personally, like that hits home.
Yes,
and helping kids is a big deal. So a quick shout out from somebody like Gardner Minshew or anybody that's able to get some views on this and help us draw some more funds for a great cause.
Let's get 1,000 people.
Deal.
Yeah. The stat that blew my mind last year when we partnered up with St. Jude was when they started St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. The survivability rate for childhood cancer was 20%. And that number in 2020 is 80%. 80%
Amazing.
From 20%. And their mantra is we will not stop until it's 100%. So like what they've done already is unbelievable. And who knows what they can do. I can't think of a better charity that we could have come up with. Childhood cancer, guys. Like it's huge.
Like as much as number one, I want to get Gardner Minshew on the show. Number two, number one, I want to get him a starting job. Number two, I want to get Gardner Minshew on the show. But really, the most important is helping people, right? Yeah. That's the biggest part of this. So beyond that, though, right? It's I don't know. That's the biggest part of it. It's helping people, whether it's St. Jude or it's helping you guys win your fantasy leagues. That's no offense to anybody. That's kind of second rung to us is helping you guys win your fantasy league along with helping other people in this great cause.
Unless you're in our leagues.
If
you're in our leagues, you're losing.
if we can get Gardner Minshew to help us out in this endeavor, I'm gonna rock a Gardner Minshew jersey for every episode next season.
I will rock it for the rest of the time we do this show. If he helps out St. Jude, I will never not wear a Gardner Minshew episode.
Yeah, I will
jersey.
rock
Are
it.
you going mustache and mullet?
I will go mustache and jockstrap.
And mullet?
Damn it, boy.
You
gotta
go
get the mullet.
mustache. I will go mustache. Yeah.
You need the Mississippi mud flap.
My wife is going to be ticked, but I will go Minshew stash.
Come on, Mississippi mud flap.
And my son rocks a mullet for fun. It's like kind of halfway in now, so I'll get him to handle the Mississippi mud flap liability on my behalf.
That's
There we
fair.
go. I like it.
Guys, we're coming up on 2 hours like we normally do. Kick it off, Tom. Where can everyone follow you at? And go down the run, guys.
Oh, as always, on Twitter at FFR Tom, Fantasy First Rounders Tom. That's where you can help me get hashtag #StartMinshew2021 trending. I mean, let's be honest. This man is a starting caliber quarterback. There's a lot of teams out there desperate for a quarterback, right? The Houston Texans, for instance, are desperate for a starting quarterback, even after bringing in what my man says is Ty God.
Tide Pod.
So, yeah, Ty Bum.
Tide Pod. That's what it is. Tide Pod.
Tide Pod. There you go. So, but look, Gardner Minshew needs a starting job in 2021 because he is a franchise quarterback and he sells tickets. He gets the people going. So follow me there at FFR Tom. You're going to see my Gardner Minshew love, my Eagles love hate, and just some generic bullshit. But it's a good time. Ryan, what do you got?
Yeah, you can find me at Real Ryan Hicks. Again, I'm just going to be pumped about the St. Jude stuff. Really, we're all consumed with it right now. We all want to get started little tiny bit early, but we should be getting started very soon because we can't help ourselves. I'm working a lot on Dynasty and then finishing up my rookie studying because we're going to be attacking rookies here pretty quick, and I'm not 100% ready. So I'm not that active on Twitter because I am very busy, but I always love seeing, again, I love reading Tom's stuff. I love seeing what everybody does. So, and then you can always reach me if you want to talk football. Again, thank y'all so much for listening, and you'll see, I'll be having a lot more articles coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, you can follow me at bwit24. I'm still kind of studying these rookies. Yet to dive in real hot and heavy, but I will be doing so soon. I'm really excited about this running back class. But thanks for checking us out. Happy to be a part of Team Rumboyz. So free Aaron Jones, start Gardner Minshew, and hashtag free Rumboyz. We'll see you next week.
Guys, and y'all can always follow me at IDCapasig on Twitter. That's pretty much the only thing I'm really on like all the time. Right now I'm currently drafting in too many different dynasty league startups, trying to get, ADPs, things like that, where all that's going, because guys, we're not going to tell you stuff that we don't know. So the best thing for us to do is to be in it, to be doing these things where we can tell you, hey, I'm in 13 startups right now that I'm drafting. I haven't seen Kareem Hunt go earlier than the 5th. If you believe that he is higher than that, that's great value. Reach for him in the 4th. Take him in the 5th where he's at. Where we're telling you to draft Zeke, I tell you right now, he's my 1.04. I'm getting him in the 2nd every single draft. Save the value. We're going to help you win your leagues, guys. The Fantasy First Rounders at Rumboyz. Go follow everything about the Rumboyz Network, guys. Follow us on all of our ads, and then also the SportsMe app, guys. Tomorrow, I'm going to be getting on there with Robbie, and I'm going to be dropping some stuff about Ty God, talking about some stuff about David Johnson, and then also my guy, Zeke Elliott. So follow us on all of that stuff. Oh, also, if you need any sort of graphic, I can't believe I missed this, guys. If you need can't believe Rumboyz is still suspended on Twitter. Miles, like, hashtag free Rumboyz. Like, anyone who, if you know, come on, Twitter. Get right, Twitter. But if you need any sort of graphic, any sort of edit, dude, find at FF Peacock. The dude is amazing. So, guys, it's been a great night. The running back theorem part 2. We'll see y'all next week for part 3. Hopefully we knock out about 10 more teams. So it's the fantasy first rounders, guys. Y'all have a great night.